Okay, welcome back. Michael Veach, Woodstock guitar guy. We're taking a little U-turn here on the schedule. I actually got a request to do this guitar from a friend who is very familiar with this guitar. So we're going to do this one today. It is a parts caster that I built myself. I'm very proud of this guy. It's the first one I did that actually ultimately came out great. It's a process, and I've learned from experience that it's best to just give these things some time to come to life. Because basically what you're doing is these parts casters, you're bringing them into the world. You see back here, I've got these are all parts casters, all right in there, piled in. Got a few more over there, So, but what you're doing when you build a guitar from parts is that you're actually, I think of it in a very metaphysical or spiritual way, that you're bringing something to life. You're putting it together from all these disparate pieces here and there, and I'll tell you where this all came from. And then you're giving it a reason for being, which is to rock, or to roll, and to play, This was it started out as my tribute to Jeff Beck. When he passed away very suddenly, I was very upset with myself because he had just performed down the road here in Kingston, New York, and with who's that fellow, the actor? He was there. I didn't go to the show. And I wasn't a big fan of the actor, but I love Jeff Beck. And I figured I would just wait until he went on tour without the actor. We could just have Jeff, maybe doing Yardbirds hits or something. And just a couple months after he was here, he died suddenly of meningitis or something. I mean, horrible. I was a huge fan. I've learned a couple of his tunes over the years and performed them out live. I'm a budding guitar lead guy. Used to be back in the day. So I wanted to do a tribute to him, and I thought I would build a telegib. And so that's what this started out as. It's almost there. I'm pretty close to finishing this up. I don't have Seymour Duncan's in it. I have Alan Entwistle's. I'm a big fan of Alan Entwistle pickups. If you have not tried out some Alan Entwistle pickups, you're in for a treat, because first of all, they're about half the price of Seymour Duncan's. They're made in England or China, or through England. He's English. He worked for Burns, building pickups starting back in the 60s. He's still going, and he's got a whole new line of guitars out with the Vintage brand called Vintage Revo. But you can buy his pickups and directly from him or others. There's a couple of other outfits in the States that I work with that And I use them because, one, it gets here quicker, and two, it's, just a little bit less on the shipping end of it, because otherwise it's coming from England. And I've tried different pickups in here. I've gone back and forth. This is what I have in here at the moment. I really like them. The body is from a fellow named Michael Rosser, and it came as it was called a Troublemaker. That was, and I guess there is a Fender Troublemaker out there that body was built after and or replicated. It's solid mahogany and it's thick. This is a real old style, heavy duty. I mean, it's not especially heavy, but it's got a lot of oomph to it, And mahogany. I finished it myself, and finished it with Minwax, solid stain, latex solid stain, kind of 2 or 3 coats. I did not. We'll have a whole bunch of episodes about how to finish guitar bodies, and that's a whole nother debate. But by the time I got to this one, I was really sick of spraying, and I was really tired of having to go back and sand out my mistakes and all this other jazz, So I got this body, and I said to myself, let's try some solid stain. And like you would put on a house or a piece of furniture or something, I did not fill the grain. I didn't use grain filler. Just left it and just started staining it. And it's the color is called Tinker's Gray. And I picked Tinker's Gray because they didn't have white. And I just thought it would look really cool with black, and I think it does. I think it looks really, really nice with black, okay, and chrome. All right. So, like 2 or 3 coats of this, wiped on, brushed on, wiped out, and then I finished it with like about 3 coats of wipe-on poly, which also I believe is a Minwax product. So I'm giving them all this free advertising, and it's a wipe-on, really easy to work with, no fuss, no muss, and it's held up very well. I have to say that I'm really happy with the finish. It's kind of matte finish. It's not super shiny, bright, or anything like that. But it feels good, and over time it just feels better. It just seems to get harder and harder as the time goes on. The neck I found it at a place I really highly recommend called Sam's Guitar Shop. Sam's Guitar Shop lives on eBay, and he's a really nice guy. I believe his name is Gary or Dave. I'm one of those two. It could be Dave. It's not Sam. And very nice guy. Sells a lot of different kinds of guitar necks. He sells US Toneworks pickups, which I've got some Strat pickups that are US Tonework. They're wonderful. Really lovely. And not expensive. Okay. The necks, they're going to run you, the shipping is going to run you about $18 to ship, because he does it priority mail, and you get it fast. It's really nice. Comes from Salt Lake City, Utah. And the neck itself, unless you get a deal, something on sale, it's going to run about $130 or $140. Every neck I've gotten from this guy has been beautiful. The frets are all ready to go. Everything is clean. There's no fret sprout. There's no, he's polished these babies. They're just good to go. And I like the the roasted, he sells these like roasted maple ones, and really like them. I just bought a few that were roasted maple with maple fretboard, and they were on sale because they had some weird grain, discoloring grain in the, which I personally don't mind at all. I love it. It just gives it a little character to me. But so anyway, you just kind of fish around. He's got a lot of stuff, and it's really, and he always seems to have these Warmouth bone nuts that he puts in. Okay. Now, I went out and ordered, and I have here a piece of 75,000-year-old woolly mammoth bone, or whatever Jeff Beck, whatever Seymour Duncan put in Jeff Beck's telegib. It's like, he used like some, 75,000-year-old bone. I have a piece here, and eventually it's going to go in here, but I am so scared to death of cutting one of these myself. I'm going to have a professional do it, and do it right, because it's a one-shot deal, with this 75,000-year-old bone nut, put the locking tuners on. These, I believe, are Music Lily. They're about $30. They're great. They work really well. So let's see. Here's what I got into it. I got 30 into the tuners, about 135 with shipping into the neck. So that's 165. The body was about 100 and, I'm going to say it was 140. So something like that. So where were we here? Where was 165 and 140 to 300? We're at 300. Pickups were about, I don't know, $80, 380. And wiring was another $30. So we're about $4. And then this little groovy tailpiece here, you can see that was like $15. Bridge was about 15. So here's another $30. And the pick guard actually was like expensive. These things, they don't give these pick guards away. It was like, I don't know, it was probably $23 or something. So anyway, I think I've got all in about $450 plus labor into this thing, but it is a beauty. It's a real keeper. The only thing I'm hesitating about doing, and if it's an official telegib, it would have a belly cut here, and there would also be an arm cut here. I could do this. I've got the equipment. I've got like these Japanese rasps, and we'll do a whole nother episode about tools, because I can show you the right tools to do this kind of thing. I've created these kinds of modifications on other mahogany bodies, and I'm just hesitant to do it on this because I kind of like it like this. It's very symmetrical. These knobs I borrowed, I replaced some knobs on a Gretsch that I had. This came with a Gretsch, and I went and got the metal ones that have the G on them with the arrow, and I stuck those on the Gretsch, and I put these on here. So anyway, $450, solid mahogany, roasted maple neck, bone nut, locking tuners, really nice vintage sounding. These pickups by Alan Entwistle are kind of like his version of the Gibson T-top humbuckers, from the 70s and 60s, early 70s. They sound like it. We're going to have sound samples pretty soon here. We'll have a little play-a-thon going out as usual. And It's it's been a process of I've put this thing together and taken it apart probably about 3 or 4 times, changing pickups or ran into wiring problem, like where something just starts cutting out. I've had to tear it all apart. I think this is a bad switch. I think I have a bad toggle, but so far it's been really good for a while. I haven't had any problems, and so I just kind of ignore it. I'm not putting this out on stage. I have recorded with it. Nice recording guitar. So that's my homage to Jeff Beck. The story with the Seymour Duncan, of course, you probably know this, and that is that he built the Telegib for Jeff Beck, and brought it to him. He was at some recording studio, brought it to him and showed it to him, and Jeff really dug it. And his manager, I guess he took the guitar and started working with it, and his manager came out to Seymour Duncan and said, what do you want? Jeff wants to give you something in return for this guitar. And there were like a couple of different things, and so he grabbed an Esquire, which happened to be the exact same Esquire that Jeff Beck recorded all those Yardbirds hits with, and Seymour Duncan went home with that. And I guess a couple weeks later, Jeff Beck realized what he had done. But he was okay. I guess he was a really nice guy, really sweet guy, and deal is a deal. And so that's what happened, and rest is history. So this is a troublemaker Telegib wannabe. And the day will come, I'll finish off and I'll get the nut in there with the Mastodon or whatever it is, And then I will replace these with the proper Seymour Duncans. And then I'll, and then if I do the cutout for the belly cut and the armrest eventually, then it will be literally a recreation of the Telegib. And I call my particular brand, I don't know if you can see it, it's called the Burncaster, and TM. So a friend of mine asked me to review this guitar, and that's what I'm doing, and I got a lot more here to review, which I'm going to do, and I keep putting stuff together, and I'm having a great time. I'm really loving it, really enjoying working on guitars every day when I can, and you will too. It's great fun. Just think big, think outside the box. I mean, this started as nothing. This started as me grieving for the loss of Jeff Beck. I mean, I really miss him, I've gone back and watched a lot of his video. I mean, great. Just, that guy was on another planet when it comes to playing guitar. He was, and who was his buddy? John McLaughlin, of all people, I saw John McLaughlin live when I was about 15, 16 years old, and in Vermont. He came through with the Mahavishnu Orchestra. I was just getting going on guitar, and I thought I was pretty good, And here comes John McLaughlin with Mahavishnu Orchestra, and I literally thought that was it. I'll never play guitar, ever. After watching that guy, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to, stand up there and play, But I kept going. I'm sure he'll be happy to hear that I didn't let him discourage me from pursuing my own styles and my own songs and whatever, my own riffs. So anyway, with that, we're gonna play some guitar going out here, and hit the like button, hit the share button, share, like, hit the send me a comment if you want. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe. Let's keep it going. I want to do about 110,000 of these things. I want to be the next Daryl Braun, who I really like Daryl too, and all of them. I like the Guitar Geek. I like 60 Cycle Hum. I like the Gear Guy. I love everybody. I love them all. And you should check them out too. But don't get discouraged if they, if they're going into stuff that's a little over your head. Don't worry about it, because eventually it all starts to filter down, and you will understand, and you will feel really comfortable building a guitar just like this, and knowing where to find the parts. eBay, really nice place. And I'll tell you a little secret about eBay before we go, and that is this: that when you're looking at a listing for eBay, in the right-hand corner, there's a little tiny box. It's got it looks like a little piece of paper with lines on it, okay? You click on that. And what that does is it opens up a dialogue with the guy or the person or the woman or whoever is selling the product, okay? And you can actually start a dialogue with them. You can make an offer. You can also hit this thing, the heart. If you see something you really like, okay, but it's expensive, hit the heart, okay, and see what happens. Because if you wait a couple days, if you're patient, the seller will come back with an offer to you, which is less than what they were asking. And then you can open up your little dialogue box and write them back and say, well, I'll give you this, and then they'll start negotiating with you, and it works. It works like a charm. Now, be careful of companies that I've learned the hard way, very painfully, actually. I bought a like $150 camera from a company. The camera, very similar to what I'm using here. I had to get a different camera. I never got the one I ordered. It never came. And I made the mistake of not going on the website or clicking on the button to see what other items that seller had for sale, okay? And now I was buying a camera, and I just assumed that it was a camera store or an electronics store or maybe a music store that also sold cameras, like Sweetwater sells cameras, okay? And I just bought the camera. It had a good price, and they said it's shipping, and here's your tracking number, all this stuff, okay? And what happened was the tracking number, which I followed, it's like for some reason the shipment started down in Texas, of all places. I'm like, this company wasn't based in Texas. And then the item actually came to my hometown. It came to Woodstock, And I got a notice saying the item has been delivered. And I look out on my porch, and nothing is there. And I looked around, and nothing is there. So I went to the post office, and the post office, it's a small town. They know me. I know them. They took the tracking number. They said, oh, yeah, we delivered that over here at this other, someplace not here, but. And what had happened was the item that got delivered, and the post office actually went to the person's house, and they said, oh yeah, he was wearing the t-shirt that he had bought. Okay, this company, it had one camera for sale, and it had t-shirts, shoes, sandals, all sorts of like stuff that was not camera. Okay. And I got the same tracking number that this guy did who bought the t-shirt. And the item got delivered to his house. Company said, well, tracking number says it's been delivered. End of story. I said, I want my money back. And he said, no. And so I opened up this whole thing with the eBay, went around and around. eBay was great. They were absolutely great. They ultimately refunded my money. I never saw that camera. It never came. I don't think it was ever shipped, but I went and bought another one. So all I'm saying is be careful. Take a look at what other products the seller is selling and pay very close attention to their rating. I went with these guys because they had 100% satisfaction rating on eBay. Well, they were 100% satisfying everybody who ordered a t-shirt, but not the guy, me, who ordered the camera. So, so that's my tip for the day. And if you're having some doubts, just start Googling around for a YouTube that talks about how to successfully negotiate on eBay. I'm sure there's about 1,000 of them or more out there. Okay, with that said, I'm going to play guitar. I'm going to shut up. Michael Veach, Woodstock guitar guy. Glad to see you. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.